Hello, class. My name is Aleko Perakupka, and this is my speech, How Leadership Paired with Communication Networks Improve Information Management. I feel like I can speak for all of us when I say we've all been in, situations in the workplace where communication has made the job immensely easier. There's no fear of talking to the boss, talking to other employees. People speak freely, you feel safe, and all that. And I'm sure there's been times where communication in the workplace has been very difficult and confusing for us, and that has made the job unmotivating, disengaging, and you feel like you don't really have a place there. When information is unclear and not transparent, or in situations where employees don't feel safe asking questions or speaking up, or even paired with their leaders who don't listen, this is when work becomes stressful, unenjoyable, and disengaging. On the opposite side of things, strong, trustworthy communication paired with leaders who listen to their employees builds trust within their work environment and creates cultures where employees feel supported and confident when speaking up. With Pressbooks Chapter 5 and 6, along with the TED Talks on Leadership by Simon Sinek, we will dive into how leadership and communication networks improve information management. My first point is management of information is essential for organizational success. Pressbooks Chapter 5 talks about how organizations must collect, store, and distribute information efficiently so that employees can perform well and make important decisions. Managing information helps avoid confusion in the workplace as well as conflict and ensures employees know what is expected from them. Again, transparency is huge. When communication is clear and transparent and everyone is on the same page, work gets done efficiently and correctly. The chapter also stresses the importance of ethical information, meaning organizations need to avoid misinformation and communicate honestly and openly across all organizations to maintain trust and credibility with employees and leadership. Again, ethical communication is huge. You don't want people scared to speak up for themselves. You don't want people scared to work with other teams in the environment and in the organization. When people trust each other and there's loyalty involved, people stick together, communication is free and supported. Now that we looked into why managing information matters, it's also important to understand how information travels through the organization. That brings us into my second main point, and that's how communication networks determine how information flows between employees. Pressbooks Chapter 6 explains that communication networks can be centralized or decentralized. Centralized networks limit communication to top leaders, which means information usually flows down through a chain of command. This type of communication structure can be efficient for quick decisions, but it may also slow down creativity because employees aren't encouraged to share ideas freely. Decentralized networks allow information to move freely among employees, creating a more collaborative environment where employees are encouraged to contribute together. This supports a more open and innovative workplace. I think in general, employees are more motivated and engaged when they're allowed to, show their creativity. I think in general, people get hired for their reasons and they want to show to the branch, the organization, the team they're part of, why they got hired, where their expertise lies. So when you're allowed to do that, employees again are more engaged, more motivated, and are more proud of their work. The YouTube video, What is Management Information Systems, explains that strong communication networks help teams and organizations work better, which leads to less confusion and the ability to solve problems faster because leaders act more like a connector rather than the traditional boss just giving orders. Instead of just solely making decisions, leaders focus on making sure the right people are talking to each other. The video talks about how leaders who look at communication with each other and helps to build connections across different teams. The video also mentions two important network ideas: bridging connections, which means connecting different groups together so new ideas spread across the workplace, and strong, tight-knit groups, meaning teams that move fast once they're all on the same page. Companies that can balance both these types of networks are more innovative and more engaged. Good networking helps information move, but strong leadership determines how that information is used and how employees feel about sharing said information. Which brings me into the main point three, my third main point. Trusted leadership encourages communications and makes organizations safer and more successful. In the TED Talk, Simon Sinek explains that great leaders create work environments where employees feel safe and valued, which increases loyalty amongst employees. When employees believe leadership genuinely cares about them and has their support, they are more willing to take risks and look out for one another, as well as create a motivating culture. Sinek emphasizes that trust is what motivates teams to go above and beyond for each other, not fear or pressure from leaders. When leaders have transparent communication and listen to their employees, it leads to building stronger workplace cultures. When employees are allowed to share ideas and report problems as well, paired with speaking up without fear, it builds good loyalty among employee and employer. Sinek says that the best leaders focus on service and empathy instead of just authority and giving orders, putting their people first so communication is open and honest. This creates a workplace where employees trust leadership enough to speak up and stay committed to the organization's success. In conclusion, to wrap this all up, strong organizations depend on three key things: clear and transparent information management, well-designed communication networks, and leaders who build trust with their employees. When these work together, employees feel supported and motivated. Information flows well through the organization, and the organization becomes more effective. Good leadership is not just about making decisions, but rather creating an environment where communication can lead to excellence. Thank you all. Thank you all for listening, and have a great day.